So I think we are live, and welcome. Good morning, Buckso.
Morning, Sarah.
Good morning, and how are you during all this lockdown?
You know what? I'm really well. I'm just coming out of a bit of laryngitis that I had since the 4th of the month of April, 4th of April. So I'm just finally getting back into being able to speak, and yeah, I'm really happy about that. It's the little things I'm really grateful for right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm a wholehearted believer in that, in terms of looking at what we've got rather than what we've not got, and in terms of what that gives us in terms of opportunities right now. I mean, I want to sort of introduce you first and foremost, and then we can sort of dig in. But Buckso is she's marvellous, really. You're a bit of an all-round superstar, aren't you? So, actress, coach, confidence coach, savvy women, creator and founder of. So you're always out there doing great stuff and promoting and wanting people to be the best people they can possibly be, which I think is where our synergy is, because that's something I've always been passionate about too. But please do take the stage ta-da, and tell everybody a little bit more about yourself, because I want people to be inspired by your story without going into all the detail, because Buckso does have a book on the in draft form she's working on, as well as everything else. But train driver to actress in Aladdin? Do tell us more.
Yeah. So, okay. So I yes. Well, I better not say train driver, because my husband will be laughing at that. Train manager.
Train manager. Train manager. Pardon.
Yes, train manager.
Train manager.
So, yeah, I currently am an actor, a confidence coach, and speaker, and a mentor as well. And I chose the latter 2 or 3 options to go into only about a year, 18 months ago. I've been in the acting industry for about 10 years, 12 years now. Just I started quite late in life. So I was 36, 37 when I went into acting.
Oh, really?
And, yeah.
Gosh, I didn't realise that. I thought it was perhaps something that you'd always done behind the scenes.
No, it's I did drama and music and art at high school.
Yeah.
And so I kind of knew I was always very creative. But I realised that I'd got a voice, singing voice, when I was about 13, 14. So you will probably remember the programme called Why Don't You, back in the 80s.
Oh, I love that. Why don't you switch off your television set and do something more interesting instead? Ta-da!
Exactly, that one. So that's the theme tune. I sang that theme tune to that with 2 of my school friends.
Oh my
gosh. And that's when I realised I'd got a pair of pipes on me, as it was.
I have to say, I definitely don't have a pair of pipes.
So it was like, okay, I can sing. So that's before I chose my options back then for GCSEs.
Oh gosh,
and so that's why I picked on the music, art, and drama. I thought that sounds like an interesting thing to go into. I have to stress though that born into first generation immigrant Indian family, I was one of 6 kids. There was 3 older than me and 2 younger, so almost middle child. So for me to want to do something like that was just a non-entity. It was a non-starter, because my parents, obviously coming here, didn't have a full grasp of what it was to live in the sort of like UK, Western world, from India.
But great that they've had that they've moved and done what they've done and embraced that change, though, isn't it? I mean, I think it's so brave to. Yeah. I
think I only realised that just recently, if I'm being honest. Because as kids, we do grow up in our lives just seeing our parents as something on the peripheral that gives us money and gives us some tips and hints in their own inimitable style on how to live life and what you should and shouldn't do. We see them as a bit of annoyance as we're growing up. And then they become more of a support network, which I didn't have, let me stress. But then, and then when my dad passed away in January this year, that's when my eyes opened to exactly what it was that they did.
And what did they do? Just out of curiosity, what did they do?
My mum had she started out there was in Stoke-on-Trent that I was born and raised, and she started out in the potteries, because the potteries is renowned.
Okay. Yes,
Stoke-on-Trent is renowned for being a pot bank. So she used to work in ceramics and whatnot. But the machinery and the loudness of the environment sort of affected her ears. So she had 3 or 4 operations, had to leave. So she didn't work from sort of late 80s going forward. She didn't work for the rest of her life. And my dad, he started out in a steel foundry. And
Right, okay.
yeah, up in Stoke. I mean, the story behind my dad's arrival is way longer. So I won't say, because it just started in Amersham, down in Sussex,
Oh,
where he
okay.
was, where my granddad was took care of the horses for the British Army, the
Oh, right.
British that were in the Indian Army in
Do you
India.
know what? I think maybe we may have a link here then, Buckso, because my granddad was a major in the Indian Army.
Ah,
He
you see,
worked.
this is the thing. What's his name?
His name was Wallace Styler, Wallace Enoch Styler, and he was out in India for all of the Second World War, and he worked on the troop ships on bringing the around Burma and everywhere around there. So my mum knows more of the story, but yeah, he was out there for I think the best part of the war. So
Wow, yeah.
yeah.
And so this is the sort of stuff that you find out afterwards, and it's almost like, oh my gosh. So when he came over in 1957, my granddad was already over here with one Colonel Tom Harper, who
Okay.
he brought him over because he said, look, I really appreciate the service you've given me over the years here in India, and I would have given you a lot more of an accolade, but I can't. He wasn't educated. So he said, look, I'll give your family passage to the UK. I'll put you up, as it were.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
So that's where the idea of voucher comes from, because what my granddad got was a voucher to travel. It was a slip of paper, which meant that he vouched for him to come over.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
So this is what I was talking about on the Cuckoo page, where the connection with the royalty is that my granddad's got a picture with Prince Philip, because of course back then what the Colonel was massively into was polo. So he set up Cowdrey Polo Club.
Oh wow, brilliant.
So that's where my granddad helped with the horses.
Oh right.
Again, that's another avenue of the story that I'm going to go into in detail.
It's fascinating, don't you think?
In the book,
history
it is.
It's fascinating. My gran who was married to my granddad that was in the Second World War. Her brothers were both greyhound trainers down at White House Stadium down in London. So it's honestly just interesting, isn't it? How where life goes, and then obviously they've arrived, and it's created the opportunity.
And I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if they hadn't made that scary decision. Because he was 17 at the time when he first came over. To move to another country where you didn't speak the language. I mean, can you imagine moving to Brazil and at 17 and having to make a life for yourself?
No, I mean, just I think the courage and the it's so courageous, like you say, and then not learning not having the language and starting all of that, and then having a family and bringing you all up. And
exactly, and hoping for the best, but trying to keep up with their culture and the tradition that they'd grown up with. The difficulty that they faced was immense. So I think that's where I get my drive and ambition from.
I was just going to ask you that. Do you think that was the seed of your drive? Because I mean, we're all we are our own people, of course, and we, through our experiences and what we go through and what we learn, certainly between the ages of 0 and 7, we're absorbing and taking on board, and those experiences shelve and shape our experience of the world in alignment then with our learning style, whether it's reflective, pragmatic, activist by learning. That's what I am. Or you're a theorist. There's the 4 different learning styles. So put that in with then the experiences that you've had, and the experiences we all have. We could all be in the same room, but we'll all experience that in a different way. So it's fascinating, isn't it? What you then pick up along the way from your parents, which is planted that seed that then drives you the way forward.
I mean, I'm a massive believer in, they always talk about, is it nature or nurture? I'm a massive believer it's the nature of an individual when they're born and how they're nurtured thereafter that makes them the person that they are. And nurture doesn't necessarily have to be direct, fully present. I'm going to nurture you like this. Their environment is also nurturing of them or not, as the case may be. And so as a middle child, you are kind of going to feel that invisibility and that need to just entertain yourself. And so
or entertain others.
Through that. Well, this is it, just to be noticed,
Oh, hello,
and
I'm
just,
here.
yeah, exactly, I'm here, I'm still here. So I went on to, I didn't leave school with any qualifications at all, whatsoever. And of course, my dad was very much into the survival mode. So he was like, right, so, okay, there's no, intellect there. So that means that you're more practical. So that means that we're going to set up a business in Derbyshire. We're moving from Stoke and buying a business and you're going to run it.
Oh,
there was no
right.
choice. I had no choice.
Sure.
That's the thing. And I don't, let me just clarify, I don't blame my parents for anything that they did.
Mm-hmm.
My sisters, my sister tries to, my older sister, she tries to bring that element of, oh, if only Dad hadn't got that shop in Ripley, you wouldn't be here today. So you wouldn't be doing this, you wouldn't be doing that. And then you would have, it's like, actually, no, let me stop you there. I am so glad you went and got that shop, and I had a crappy 7 years living there. Because it was at the time, don't get me wrong, at the age of 16, 17, starting to run a business. Self-employment to me was like, I am never doing this. Because my dad went from a steel foundry to be self-employed from the early 70s all the way through to his passing.
Another brave move.
Massively. And one thing that we're missing nowadays as self-employed individuals, which is again only something I've learned in the last few minutes since his passing, and it's come to me, we have this luxury of opportunity and choice, right?
Absolutely. You're absolutely spot on.
When we haven't got money coming into our business, we sit there and flail about and, oh my God, the worry, the fear, the worry, the fear. When I think back at what my dad was like, running a family with 6 kids, if he didn't have enough money coming in, he'd get another job. And if that wasn't enough money, he'd get another job.
Yeah, well, we live in a very different society, don't we? We haven't been through like what your parents have been through. And obviously that them on the back of the first generation from the war, etc. Yeah. You're absolutely right. But, I think there are people that are driven. And I think you hit on a word there, which is something that a lot of people operate from, and that is that point of fear, because they don't want to take that step. Your father didn't have that. He did what he needed to do for his family.
That was it.
To create a better life. And, when you allow fear in, it manifests, and it can be, it can freeze you, and it can stop you making that step. However, I think if you can recognize that, acknowledge it, and go, do you know what? I've heard you, but I don't need this because I can look at this in a different way. One of my favorite things is reframing, which is just a fabulous tool and technique that I learned through coaching. But I think I kind of knew it, but it didn't have a name, if you like, a bit like rapport building. I didn't know that I used to be in rapport with people when I was interviewing people because, I go, oh my God, I'm copying their body language. Oh, how embarrassing. Put my hands behind my back, and then they'd have their hands behind the back and go, oh God. And it wasn't till later in life I realized I was in a natural rapport. But the same is with the reframe. It's that if you look at something in a different way, like we started off talking about, if you look at what you've not got, you get more of what you've not got. Whereas actually, if you reframe that and look at what you have got, and the opportunities that this lockdown has given so many of us to be creative. Hey, do you know what? If we hadn't had the lockdown, we wouldn't be here having this conversation now. And it's marvelous. And I love it. And I want to inspire other people to take a leaf out of, our inspiration, because I want that to rub off. I want that positivity, that sort of gratitude, that energy. Let's give it out to the world.
Well, this is it. I mean, when you come back to the fear thing, I'm not saying I haven't felt fear in my life. I mean, it's human nature. It's a man-made thing. Fear is not real. It's not real. It doesn't exist. Why are we fearless as kids? Because we haven't got a mind that's telling us otherwise. We haven't had the experiences and other influences from other people. So we just do things without thinking twice when we're younger. Mm-hmm. So as we get older, we get more aware, and we take other people's stories and make them our truths. And then that's something that we start to believe, even though we never thought of that before that person mentioned it. The fact is, danger is real. Danger is real. If you go to the edge of that cliff and take a foot forward, you're going to fall off. I would be scared of that.
Exactly.
That's real. But fear isn't real. Fear isn't real. What's wrong with taking a step into the unknown? Absolutely. You don't know there's danger there. You don't know there's danger there. So where's your fear from? Just this is the thing where we go forward, like with the steps that I take. A lot of the time, a lot of things that have happened to me in my past at the time, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to resonate with this. There was a time when things happened to me that I was on my knees about it. Mm-hmm. So again, it's all in my book. But
when are you going to get this book out there? We all want to read it, Buckso. Come on. I've connected you with an editor. She's marvellous. And I can't
even say I haven't got time. I can't even say I haven't got time because I have now. And this is why I'm looking at it. The book is called Corner Shop to West End.
Yes.
One Woman's Tale of Success Through Adversity. Now, before my dad passed in January, it was going to be that title, One Woman's Tale of Success Through Adversity. But now I'm going to create a little hat symbol and put in perceived success, because everything that I've done is giving off an impression to people of success. Okay.
Well, life's an illusion of our own creation, and you can create an illusion, and it's other people's perception of your success in terms of the words that you use to describe yourself. So if you sort of carry on talking about, oh, woe is me, woe is that, people won't think, but you know, everybody is successful, everybody has achieved, everybody who's sitting watching this right now has achieved in their life. It's recognizing it and understanding.
And you know, sometimes
you can use that drive to achieve what you've achieved. So I'm a great believer. If we get back onto the story, which we're partly on at the moment, from train manager to actress in Aladdin, you know, it's that journey of self-belief, and you know, how you can. I'm very passionate about people who've been in careers that are out of alignment with their talents and passions, which can bring on illnesses and ailments, and people just don't feel happy. Then they get grumpy at home. That radiates out. But actually, if you're in line with everything, like we've already discussed, you know, it's not work. If you're doing what you enjoy doing, it's not work. You know, I'm doing lots of stuff at the moment. You know, I'm not getting paid because you know, we're in lockdown, nothing's happening. But you know what? I'm loving all the stuff that I'm doing. And this is great.
Is the thing, because you're choosing to focus on the beauty of the situation in this point in time. Now, when I left, my parents went back to Stoke when the shop went downhill because Sainsbury's opened. So the shop went downhill and they had to close. And I got a job with the railway then in 1997. I'd got no qualifications, no education, bearing in mind. And working there, I worked my way up. And if I'd have stayed there, I probably would be in higher management right now, because my ambitious nature wasn't to settle for mediocrity. And if that says something that is firing in you, you'll never, ever be settled in life. No matter what you're doing, if you're not doing something that you're meant to be doing, you will feel this sense of unease in your day-to-day life.
Exactly.
So when I would never have left the railway. I would never have pursued acting, even though it was something I loved, and I loved singing. Oh, I just loved it from afar. Oh, you know, oh, well. When I had the twins, because I've got boy and girl twins, 17 years old now, there wasn't part-time working at the railway there. So I had to leave. I had to leave because I had the job after I went back, after a year off, I went into the reception area of their academy. Yeah. Part-time every day, but it's boring. Yeah. I wasn't ticking boxes for myself. Didn't know what it was. I was really unsettled.
Yeah, so, you weren't being fulfilled. You weren't being yourself. Yeah.
At all. So I had to leave there. And so I tried I tried egg banking. I tried beauty therapy, qualified as a beauty therapist. Did that for a couple of years. I did various little jobs. And then I thought, you know what? Still not satisfied. Because this wasn't meant to be the plan. Yeah. I wasn't meant to leave the railway, for God's sake. But you know what? The universe will throw.
It happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason.
And it'll throw that spanner in the works for you so that you make that change. And at the time, you might see it as the most worst thing that's ever happened to you. Because I'm one of 6, and I've jumped around a little bit here, but I didn't get a lot of support at all in anything that I've achieved to date. Nobody has helped me except once. When I had the kids, I'm married to a white chap.
Yeah.
As an Indian, that wasn't something that went down very well with my family. So in a nutshell, I was cut off from everything I've known, all my identity, my culture, and everything went. Didn't see them for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
So, and still the relationship wasn't right after that, 100%, even till the day my dad died, like I say. And then my dad passed away in January. I'm not going to pretend it's full transparency.
You made me go all goosebumpy.
Yeah. There's no transparency. There's no falseness. It's all transparent, authentic here. I'm not saying my life is perfect. It doesn't come from perfection. That doesn't exist, by the way, so forget looking for it. But everything I've done is on my own. So if you feel that you are out there being, you know, unsupported and stuff, that shouldn't be a reason for you not to carry on pursuing your ambitions and dreams. You make sure you find those people that will help you with it. Not the ones that are happy to take your money and fill your house with hot air. I don't mean them people either, because there's far too much of that going on as well. But when I made a decision, I was like, I'm going to, actually, you know what? I still fancy acting. I'll just go as a background artist. I'll just be in the background. At least I'm on set. you know, pop in here and there, different day, great.
So where did you do that then? Where was that? How did you go about doing that?
So I looked on something that was popular back in the day, 10, 12 years ago. I wouldn't bother with it now. I wouldn't touch with a barge pole. It's a website called Star Now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and on there, I just thought to start. I didn't know how I came to find it. Started looking for it, and then it was like, oh, supporting artists required agency, want to be a model, and all this. So, commercial model means you can be like play a mom in a picture, and have photos taken and all that.
Yeah.
So I did that with my agency in Manchester, and I did that for a couple of years, and I'd travel up to Bolton and back for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Leaving at 6 in the morning. Yeah, just to get £75 a day. And this is another thing I want to stress. If you want to achieve success, what I found, it ain't going to come from sitting in luxury and having it handed to you. It's just not going to come. And if it does, it won't stay around. It ain't going to hang around. It's going to be gone. There's no sustainability, because what's your driver to keep getting up every day? So for me, I did my homework and my groundwork, having never done any drama school or anything like that, bearing in mind no qualifications except beauty diploma. I travelled up to Bolton every day from Derby and back every night for £75 a day, which if you take fuel out was probably 50 quid.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine suggested that I meet somebody that he'd been working with down in London. And this is the one time that I was given help. And he said, I think you should see him. He's just set up his own agency. And I think he'd like you. And I said, you have told him I've got no qualifications. You've laid it out there, haven't you? And he said, yeah, but I think he'll really like you. So I went down and auditioned for him, really badly. I don't mind admitting, because I didn't have a clue how to audition. I'd never done it.
No, exactly. But you're just being yourself. You're being authentic.
That's it. And I did this monologue really badly, picked the totally wrong one, because again, no qualifications. I didn't know how you're supposed to pick something that relevant to your age and to the playing person that you want to play. And he took me on. He saw something in me, and he took me on. And 3 months later, I got my first job on Corrie. And the rest is history. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's amazing.
That was how I got into acting.
It's taking those opportunities though, and this is something I really want to sort of encourage people to take note of, because it is about taking action. It is about putting yourself out there, but it's actually being aware of. It's tuning into yourself and knowing what that kind of bigger picture is, where you want to get to. You don't need to know how you're going to get there, but because you've tuned in and you are aware of what fires you up, you will then recognize the opportunities that present themselves to you. And it's about taking action on those opportunities, because they can easily come in and go out. And if you've not been tuned in, if you're not got them on your radar, if you're not sort of your periphery vision, your subconscious, you're not picking up that vibrational frequency, you've missed it. And there's a quote that I use in my book, because I've written a book as well. And there's a quote out of a book by Rob Moore, who's written a book called Life Leverage, which I think is a great book. And he says, and I love this quote, is the law of attraction without action is a distraction. So there's no point putting out what you want to receive back if you're not going to take any action on it. And which is what you did, and that's what happened, that's that connection. Yeah.
That's it, because you go back to me, a point that you made earlier in the email asking me how I make everything happen. And it's exactly that, by taking action. Was I scared going down to London and meeting an agent in good old busy London? Yes, I was. My twins were at home. They were with my husband. They were 5 years old at the time, 5, 6 years old. Well, how did this work? I didn't know how the industry worked. What would it mean? I've got 2 little ones at home. So we're very happy to put kids down as a reason not to do something. We're very happy to create an obstacle or a reason why we shouldn't do something. And it's just not good enough, because there's people out there that will do that. They will not make an excuse. They'll still say, I've got kids, but, and that's what I did. And there was a sacrifice along the way. And there's going to be sacrifices along the way, which meant that I wasn't fully present. But that was also through depression and whatnot, after having everything that went on with the family and stuff, as well, which is not to negate.
But that then also shapes their life moving forward as well, because I think, we can have a perception. It's what, and it's the perception of what we should be is somebody transferring their experience of the world onto us. I mean, I went back to work when Fred was 4 months old, and I've worked consistently since he was 4 months old, and he went to nursery. My ex-husband was at home, so that we sort of shared things. When we split up, we shared stuff as well. Excuse me, but I could say I wish I'd been at home all the time with him, but I couldn't. It just, it wouldn't have worked. it wouldn't work.
But it would have killed your insides. It would have killed your insides because you were trying to fit into a square shape. And, you know, when your shape's round, it's like you're trying to force something that's not meant to be. And this is the thing going back. Okay, so taking action is what it was all about going along the way. My husband would happily stand there and give me 10 reasons not to do something. So when from my family, Dan saying to me, "Oh, you want to be an actor, you and 20,000 other people. Oh, I'm going to pick you."
We've gone a bit watery. Can you hear me okay? We've gone a little bit, went a bit watery just then.
Yes, it's your buzzing background.
Yeah, well, hopefully people will still be able to hear on the record anyway. But yes, your husband, list of 10 reasons why not to do things.
Yeah, you're still buzzing. You're still buzzing when you speak, am I?
Oh, I don't know what's going on. Oh, we were in full fettle there.
Shall we come back in? It might be recording, but unless you've got an editing system. Should we part 1 and part 2 it?
We can do. Shall we part 1 and part 2?
Yeah, you're very much like a Dalek at the minute.
Yeah, you too. So let me end the recording and then we'll start again. So where are we? Stop. Computer, yeah. So hopefully I think we're recording again now. A bit of technical issues there, and we've obviously had an interesting journey with Buckso so far, and we're keen to hear the rest of the story. Obviously we were talking about procrastination and fear and putting things, you know, obstacles in the way, and actually when you eliminate those, it enables you to step out, you know, release the fear and just do it, because you know what, it's like us today. We've launched out, we're doing this live, and the technical issues kicked in, but do you know what, we're persevering, aren't we? And we're going to kick on, we're going to carry on, and we're going to get this story finished, because we've come from the corner shop so far along the train lines. And we've now got teenage children, and you've made your connection in London, who's become your new agent, and we've talked about, as I say, removing those obstacles to release yourself to go out and do it. Because do you know what? I mean, I was brought up, I want to share these tips. This is from my early days in recruitment. It's a no anyway if you don't make the call. If you don't ask, you don't get. And what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You know what? There's always something to be learned. Always something to be learned. There's always something to take away. So.
Exactly. And I mean, going back to sort of, like I say, we worked our way through the railway, had to leave the railway, got into acting, did my first job 3 months after joining with the agency, and went on to Corrie. So I never did any background work ever again, because it's unfortunate, but the industry has created a stigma. The actors themselves, I'll be honest, they create the stigma around being a supporting artist, because some of the etiquette there isn't quite right, you know. And even me as an actor now, being on set with the likes of Will Smith on Aladdin, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to say, "Hey, oh, Will, you're all right." I take into account that he's just about to do a scene that's quite fast, and he's not going to need me and to be making small talk with you at that point. So I don't need to occupy his mind and his space. Just wait until you're spoken to. And it's just etiquette, and this is massive. Cause people say, "Oh, aren't you being, oh God, don't you get really scared?" And I used to. Don't get me wrong, a couple of years ago I used to. But you know, something happened, and I can't think exactly what it was now, because there's loads of things that have happened throughout the last 10, 12 years. And it is very much a case of be careful what you wish for.
Oh, yes.
Because when I went down because I got onto the West End in 2015 for a year. I went to live in London for a year.
Oh,
bearing in mind, at 42 years old, having never lived away from home in my life.
Oh my God.
I'd never gone to uni or anything like that.
You stepped into your dad's shoes.
I was leaving Derby with my husband at home having to go part-time. He'd never done that in his life, so that was a massive sacrifice for him.
Wow.
With twins that were 7, now what were they then? 11. With twins that were 11 years old, going on 12 that year while I'd be away. And then me moving to London, renting somewhere, trying to get my head around that paying $650 a month for a room was going to have to be my life for the next 12 months, and I need to get it. And I also get over the fact that I was never going to go back home to Derby at the end of that year, money in my account because of the fact that I'd spend it left, right, and centre. Not everything, not everything that twinkles.
No.
Finds is a gem. So I had a tough time that year in London. I came out of it. I was mugged at gunpoint 3 months in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I wasn't seeing the family very often. I was living on my own most of the time. I came back and very, very, very my body had it. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh my gosh. Just
April
because you've not been looking after, obviously you're doing something for your career, but you're sacrificing other areas of your life. But sometimes you have to do that, don't you? I mean, you do have. I spent, when I left my ex-husband, 9 months living in my old bedroom with my son in my old bedroom, and my entertainment was sitting on the sofa with my parents.
And you'd never choose that path for you. If somebody showed you that and said, if somebody said to me at the age of 20, when I was in the shop for 14 hours a day, somebody said, look, so here's a picture, look, that's you on the West End stage. There, look. Great, isn't it? Yeah, but it's not going to happen until you're 42. I'd have been like, 22 years? Forget it. I don't want it then. They just said, forget it. I'm not waiting that long. So sometimes it's not always best to find out when things are going to happen.
Exactly.
We don't need to have a date on it. And I'm going to use an analogy here, which might take us into the end of the conversation. I don't know if I could save it till the end of a conversation if you like. But
no, throw it in. If it's popped into your head, I'm a firm believer in getting it out when it's popped in.
Yeah. So the analogy that I now make, I've tried it on 3 or 4 people, the same analogy, because it sounds very simple to me. But to them, I've seen the light bulb go on, with some of my clients, and it's like, I get it. All right. Okay. So if you thought from here, if we're going to London, we decide we need the M1 to get us to London, don't we?
Yeah.
Right? That's a fact. So I've decided, I've set the intention. My intention is I'm heading to London, right? That's that. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I'm going to London. Right, so I get on the M1. Along the way, I'm going to hit some traffic. I'm going to be sitting there for a while, waiting for the traffic to disperse. I don't know what's going on. Don't have an idea of when it's going to happen. The traffic starts moving. Carry on. We're going to London. We're going to London. Oh, there's a detour. Got to come off here. Off you go. Oh, God, how long is this going to take us? Got to get to London. Doesn't matter. We just carry on. We follow the detour signs, and then we eventually get back onto the M1 again. Because my intention is to get to the M1. Get to London.
That's what I call your bigger picture. That's where you're going, but exactly.
That's it. Right? So life has this habit of taking us off track to see just how determined you are to get to London, right? Yes. But if you come to the point in your life where you're constantly on a detour, maybe you shouldn't be going to London.
Yeah, very true. That's very true.
That's the thing. That's the beauty of being able to, you've got to increase your self-awareness. You've got to know.
Absolutely.
It's not going to work.
I use a similar analogy along those lines in terms of, do you know what? If you're knocking on somebody's door and they don't open it, and then you keep knocking and they don't open it, and they keep knocking and they don't open it, and you knock louder and you stand there for several weeks and you're still knocking, you do need to take that message that they're not going to open it. So move away. And it's, that's been my adage throughout, my years in recruitment. I know that as long as I'm putting the activity, and I've always seen 3 months worth of activity is the next 3 months worth of business. The business doesn't necessarily come from the people that you've actually made the connections, the calls to in the first place. But equally, so if I pick up a call, if I pick up a phone, I'm always straight out there, and I always have been. Do you use recruitment agencies? No, you don't. Put the phone down onto the next call, because there's no point spending time trying to persuade someone to do something that you want them to do, but they don't want to do. What's the point? Just move on. There's so many people in the world doing so many different things, and if things don't work, they're not meant to work. And I hear stories myself of people, well, I didn't get that job and I should have got that job. Blah, 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 blah. No, let it go, because it wasn't meant to be. It's not part of your destiny. It's not part of your route to London. It's you're meant to keep going. There's a reason. If you'd have gone and taken that trajectory, I can never say that word. If you'd have taken that diversion and forced your way in, it's not going to be working, because the energy's not right, and it's going with the flow.
A lot of people will say, oh, but what about, there's a diagram, isn't there, where they show 2 pictures and two people are pickaxing away on a diamond mine, and the person that walks away is literally that far away from the diamonds. Yeah, and the other person is like left it a while ago. Yeah, that's what we'll say. Yeah, but Buckso, what if you're on the M1 to London and you nearly got there but decided not to bother anymore just before you got into Cricklewood or whatever, and you didn't? London was down the road. And it's like, the thing is though, you have to own the fact that there's been far too many curveballs, because along the way of me going to London, I'm going to get snippets of, hey, you're getting close to London. Now, I haven't arrived in London yet myself, by the way. Getting Aladdin and getting Corrie and getting Last Tango in Halifax recently means I'm probably around Luton area. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Around the Luton area, I've still got to get to London. So for me, along the way, my ideas is that the M1's given me some decent signposts in the way of Last Tango in Halifax.
Absolutely.
So that's your indicator to know that the signal signposts on this motorway are the right ones. I've been given a sign. So for me to give up now would be ridiculous, because I will be honest, a couple of years ago, going through my own sort of bit of because we all have a moment where we're going through a bit of, what am I doing? Is this the right thing? I need some regular money coming in, because, you know, as a self-employed individual in the acting world, I've had to rethink and start doing something in between with the coaching. So now I need to start pushing that more.
It becomes a portfolio career, and it becomes things that you can do as well as. I mean, there's actresses that have become yoga teachers, you know, people that are well known, and they, you know, it's about creating multiple streams of income for yourself. It's about being flexible. It's about being creative. It's collaborating. I think the days of old where, you know, I mean, certainly when I first started out in recruitment, you know, people would have been in jobs for 40 odd years because that's the way it was. But then, sort of, you know, the recession hit, and, you know, industry and manufacturing went over abroad, and then we had call centres come up, and then the call centres got shipped out, and it's changed. The one thing, and this is the thing that, you know, I recognised sort of like day 2 on lockdown was like, so I needed some structure. When lockdown came, my plan B and plan C flew out the window. Went, grabbed a bottle of wine, stopped, and just went, and then I felt really rubbish and kicked myself back into touch. I thought, I need some framework. I need to know what I'm doing. I need something. And I went, it's change. The one thing that's constant is change. And that's what we need to embrace, because when we do that, we learn and we do, and it becomes an exciting journey. And you know what, that destination, it's not about getting there. It's about what we do along the way. And when we get there, we'll be wanting to do something else.
Exactly.
Because there's always something new to be doing. It's great. I mean, I don't ever want to get to the point of going, right, that's it. I've got my eyes on opera seat. I want to be doing stuff.
Get in the queue. Get in the queue. But this is the thing. It's like, now is one of those opportunities that's come along where you just sat in woe is me. Been there, done that. So I know that this opportunity right now is a chance for me, because I'll be honest, something was going on internally before lockdown for me. Yes, since my dad died, when you lose somebody, there's a switch that goes off inside you, flicks. I don't mean for a bad. I don't mean for a bad. There's a switch that flicks in you. If you haven't felt that switch, it's because you buried your head in your work, booze, drugs, food, or whatever else you do to distract yourself. But that switch that flicks inside you, and it has done for me, is the time for you to make a change in your life. It doesn't have to be drastic, but it's for you to change what you're doing, because it's changed my way of thinking. I'm very spiritual anyway. I thought I was, but now I've gone up a notch. That's what's happened, has made me question my spirituality. Because if I look back and think, Dad came here at 17, worked there, self-employed ice cream man, Michelin shop, went back to the foundry that he was at 30 years ago, then he went into property, and then he died. And I'm like, well, what was all that for then? What was all of that about? So for me, looking back at my life, the first 25 years of my life were just about finding out who I am, had this ups and downs, married my husband, and got married. From the age of 25, I was in the railway. So then the next 25 years I'm in now. So we have we have almost 3 chapters if you talk about being 75, and we all we have those 3 chapters. So I'm thinking now at this point in time, I'm coming up to 50 in a couple of years' time, and what am I going to do for the next 25 years? Because it's going to be this behind, this, you know, up and down, moan, this, where are we going on holiday? It's got to have more substance to what I'm doing now.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, because I mean, I've had sort of changes in my life, you know, and I'm a bit ahead of you. I'm hitting the 55 in October, so I'm on that trajectory. I can't say that word again. But you know, very much, my life that I'm living now bears absolutely no resemblance to the one I had before, because, you know, I don't know. I was very much motivated and supporting my ex-husband with his businesses and things like that, and just head down in recruitment. And it wasn't until 2005 that I ended up taking that step and having, you know, being a single parent, although his dad was very present, you know, but from a distance, and starting out a whole new life. And, you know, then went self-employed at the height of the recession in 2009. You know, who would think of going self-employed in 2009? But I didn't. I felt that, like, you know, you get to a point where you just, I can't do what I'm doing anymore. I have to create my own opportunities. And I'm in a position now where I'm waiting for that, you know, that switch that you just mentioned about flicking. I'm sort of I'm doing lots of stuff that I feel very much is foundation work at the moment, because I know there will come a point that switch will flick, and it'll be right now, and I'll recognize that opportunity for myself when it arrives, because I'm tuned in like you. And funnily enough, talking about spirituality, whilst we've been talking, Julianne Hart's wrong. I don't know whether you know Julianne Hart, but I've done a huge amount of work with Julianne. And
yes, I'm working on a project with Julianne at the moment.
Oh, are you? Oh, awesome. But so she's rung me whilst we've been talking, and I've missed her call, because obviously we were talking.
She'll love that. If you tell her you're on the Zoom with me at the time, she will find that.
She's awesome.
This is what's happening now, right? So the fear factor that everybody's got, taking action, okay? I'm going to have full transparency here, because I'm a massive believer going forward. Times are changing.
Absolutely.
Right? Don't want to get too woo-woo with people, but I will chuck a bit of woo in there, because that's who I am.
Let's go a bit woo-woo. I'm with you all the way.
The energy of the planet is changing, okay? Everything's being lifted up, and the vibration of something is increasing.
Absolutely.
What's going to happen is, if we are in a sluggish, energetic vibe, we are going to really feel this change in the way of tiredness, extreme tiredness, wanting to cry for no reason, mood being pulled, the no desire to do anything. These are all things that are going on for people, and they're going to be putting it down to lockdown, which will have compounded things. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is, well, to make it simple, people say, how are you? Yeah, but how are you supposed to change what you've done all your life? It's not going to happen overnight. This journey I've been on has been on for 20 years, 25 years, okay?
Exactly.
So I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight. Full transparency again, I have not been able to do any of what I've been able to do without the fact that my husband is that steady Eddie that I used to over 20 years ago. He's got the steady job at the railway, which is where we met. And he's paying the bills, you know, he pays the bills. And I'm so grateful for that. Yes, we've had a bit of a wobble along the way in 2014, where it was almost like this wasn't part of the plan, you know, because I'm not bringing in, I wasn't bringing in regular money. Contribute. So there's full transparency there, guys. I'm not saying that this is an easy route. If you're on your own, you're going to struggle. I get it to some point.
But without all those bumps in the road, you don't grow. You don't move forward. You don't propel yourself. And it's about having those bumps. I mean, I've had loads of challenges. I mean, I just if I listed them all, people there's no point, you know. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it's about embracing them. It's about that transparency. I'm not where I thought I would be. I moved back to the village I was born and grew up in, and my parents are still here. I'm thinking, you know, I embrace change all the time. I go, I'm still in the village. But I know it's part of where I'm supposed to be at the moment. But I have a bigger picture of me. Yes, on the opera stage, not in the opera because I can't sing, but, you know, I also want to have a holistic retreat in South Wales, but I've already got connections. And just through some communication yesterday, I suddenly went, oh my God, yeah, this is part of, just to recognise what I'd been doing, connecting other people, went, yeah. And I get it. Oh, okay. I get excited. I think we both do. And I think.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, the key thing is to say it out loud. What is it that you want? Let the world know what to do with it.
Absolutely. And this is what I've been talking about with people putting together their CVs and working on themselves in the sort of the group chat, if you like, and post that I've been putting out. Because by doing that, by actually taking that action, you're solidifying in your own head. And I've, in all of my life, had the jobs, I would say 90%, I suppose, yeah, all my roles have manifested because I've had the clarity, and I've not applied for jobs. I've hardly ever had an interview because the jobs have just materialised. So anyway, I know that we've been talking for a very long time, and I want to make sure that people do listen to both bits of recording without going, oh my God, they're still talking. I rather think we could probably just need to go and get a beer. But so
Absolutely. We do need to do that at some point. My intention going forward, if I'm just going to state my intention.
Exactly. What is your intention going forward?
Intention, because I'm also head of creative media and PR at Savvy Women Publication, which is an online publication and a print publication, which obviously we can't print at the minute because of the way things are. But it's an online publication, and it's my aim is to give, because I know what it's like not to have any support in my endeavours. And there's plenty of people out there that have that in life. Don't hate your family for not supporting you. Doesn't matter. They're not on the same wavelength as you. That's okay.
Exactly.
My intention is to create a platform to increase the profile of women in business and raise the brand awareness. So we're very backward coming forward as women in business, but I want to get a platform, and eventually it is going to be things where I have seminars where people come, people speak, I interview on stages, and people have a conversation with each other, our breakout areas, meeting and all of that. That's going to be what happens going forward. Okay,
brilliant. So fantastic.
So if anybody out there wants to blog, send me a blog over. I'll happily share it on the Savvy Women platform, on Facebook and on Instagram as well.
Awesome.
Once my voice gets better, I will be interviewing people as well and talking about the woman behind the business. And that's the key thing, because now people want transparency and authenticity. You better be ready to show all of your flaws, not because of anything, except like saying, I'm not sat here saying I'm doing what I'm doing and everything's great. I've had my husband paying the bills. That's it. I could not do it if he didn't do that. Thank God.
But it's about teamwork. It's about connecting, and it's about working together. It's like I've got Lou within my business, and I've had people say to me, "Oh, you ought to be running your business in a slightly different way." I'm going, no, I know what I'm doing is absolutely right, because she's kind of she does all the sort of the detail stuff, whereas I couldn't be doing what I'm doing now here on Zoom, because it's taken Lou to sort lots of things out behind the scenes for me, because I've been on with the creative side. I'm pushing forward, I'm surging forward, and just trying to create myself. Well, not just trying to create, because we use our coach language. I am creating it, bring it into the present. And yeah, I mean, we've got to say we're very much of a like mind, but my vehicle is very much careers, and very much that sort of second career for people who've, a bit like you with your train manager to acting journey. It's knowing that just because you've been along one path, it doesn't mean to say that you can't change. It's, as you say, it's not necessarily going to happen overnight. It's about making those small steps now, networking and being within the people and connecting with the people that are going to make those connections for you, if you like. It's a whole workshop in itself, plus some. But it's about knowing you can do it.
Key thing in all of it is make sure that you give, constantly give. The amount of people over the last few months that have given to me for free has been amazing. And I don't sit there and think I'm not worth it. I think of all the shit I've had, pardon my French, over the years that I've had.
Yeah.
That I think, no, now's my time. Now is my time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm still sat here in pain. Some days are worse than others, but I don't dwell on it. And the one thing I will end on here is, you've got to become the client you want to attract. You've got to become the job that you want to have. If you're vibrating here, if the CEO of a company is vibrating like that, and you're like this, you've got to speed up so you're on the same wavelength.
Absolutely. No, I'm totally with you 100%.
That's like, if you operate at a low level energy and this person operates up here, don't hate them for it. Don't hate them.
You've got to raise your vibration up there with them.
I can't come down here to you because it's hard to get back up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to recognise that people will fall by the wayside. As you rise, there are a lot of people that don't like to see you rising, and unfortunately they will fall away. Well, you can still have them in your life, but it's not allowing people to put you down. You have to walk away, and you have to raise. You can bring people up, but you don't go down to them to bring them up.
No, why they don't like you being that way is because you're reminding them of what they're not. They're losing you. They're losing that person they used to have in their life. They're scared. It's fear again. Exactly. They don't want to lose you. Please come back down here and drink copious amounts of me and smoke some fags with me like we used to. Yeah. Like, I don't know who this person is anymore. And that's okay. Let them go. Don't.
Absolutely. Do you know what? Even my son at the age of 21, he's recognised that from, his skate community. I mean, and he's got some amazing friends who've come from some amazing families that he now circulates with. I'm going, oh my life, Fred. But anyway, let's call it, let's end there and just say, do you know what? It's been fantastic, Buckso. Really, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And I hope everybody that listens takes some inspiration and advice, and just enjoys the conversation, the journey, and the energy that you exude, and takes that with them into their day. So I've now got the job of sorting out the tech. So wish me luck. We're stepping into this zone of me not really knowing what I'm doing. So, but it's all okay. It's good.
Fine. If anybody wants to follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn, please do. Buckso Dhillon-Woolley. Yes. And Instagram, Buckso_. That's brilliant. It.
Well, when I've posted it in the group, if you can pop those links in, Buckso, that'll be absolutely brilliant. And I will
tag me in that post.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll have to send you some of my blogs over as well for your page, so you can have a look at those too.
Any women in business, please, that are watching this, send me a blog. I'll put my email on the link as well. Send me your blogs, and I'll get them on the Savvy Women platform.
It's all about collaboration, communication, and creativity. Thank you very much. Yes, awesome.
Queen of collaboration.
Queen.
Yes.
Take care, Buckso. Thank you so much.
Bye.
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 Bye.